Kate Tempest's Let Them Meet Chaos is a narrative poem which tells the story of one night in London and of 7 strangers living in the same street, all waking at the same time, just before a storm breaks and brings them outside. And while it's one long poem, each of the 7 characters has their own voice. And the poem changes rhythm and tone and style to reflect their own voices and their own characters and their own stories. And they tell of war, of colonisation in the British Empire, of the environment, of grief, of youth and age, of gentrification and poverty. They tell of their city. They tell of love. They tell of things changing around them. There is anger in the poem, and there is heartbreak, and there is humanity. The earth itself has a voice of vengeance, an Old Testament God, and it watches from above and talks to humanity. It talks to the characters, it talks to the reader, and it talks to the listener, because this is a poem that is meant to be read aloud. And you can tell when you read it that it is meant to be read aloud. The sections in the poem that I love are too numerous to be counted, but I do have a particular favourite. A few lines that are repeated about 3 times in the middle of the poem, in the centre of the storm rising. Before the storm arrives, before the cacophony brings catharsis, and before the rain falls, the storm and the earth speaks, and it speaks of the rat race below, of the people moving so fast to avoid seeing anything. And it says, hard rain falling on the half-hearted, half-formed, half-fast walking, half fury, half boredom, hard talking, half dead from exhaustion, hard pushed but the puddles keep falling. Don't fall in. And as I say, that's repeated at least 3 times. And provided you get someone to read it who won't stumble over the words like I did, it sounds more than moving, more than powerful. I chose to paint London for this video, or a nighttime scene in a city. I used a mostly wet on wet technique for the painting, if you're wondering about how I did my art style. It isn't the street in the poem that I but I wanted to paint London, and I wanted to paint the night. Let Them Meet Chaos was written in 2016, and you can tell that it is contemporary, although political world is ever changing. But you can see the same fears that so many of us have, particularly in Britain, but all over the world probably. The feeling that some of us are seeing things that the people that are supposed to be in care of us are missing. It's a very powerful poem. And it's possibly the first poetry collection I've ever read that I loved before anyone ever had to explain it to me. It captured me straight away. It's accessible in a way that doesn't lessen its power, its strength. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really enjoyed making it, and honestly can say that this is one of my favourite books that I've done so far. Although I love all the books that I've made videos on so far, so perhaps I could say that about all of them. If you enjoyed the painting, please take a look at my Instagram, which is linked in the description box below, and also my Patreon, which is linked in the description below. I'd love for you to support me. And I also have an Etsy shop, which will again be linked in the description below, where you can find some of my original paintings and some original watercolours as well. I'd really love if you could check out my work and subscribe and come back again next Tuesday for another booktube video, and then Tuesday after, and the Tuesday after, because I'm going to be here for a while. Thank you so much. Bye.